no gore, mainly no pus. It's what I want, okay? It's what I need. His eyes burn into hers. What about what I want? You make me know how wonderful I am. I can't know it by myself. I can't know it alone. It'll all go away with you. I don't want you noble. Just us to last a little longer. I don't care where. Listen, Ida, you won't fall apart. His voice rough, the veins in his slim neck stretched taut. I know all about you. You move boulders to get where you need to be. You're strong, Ida. I don't ever have to worry about you. That's the only peace I have. Don't take that away from me, understand? His body's so wired now it could shatter into a million fragments. Okay, she whispers quickly. Okay, and slides into the chair, which he begins circling. I have a story for you, baby. It's about this vet in Santa Fe. He really exists. Every few days, no matter where he is, he screams until he loses his voice. Then, when his voice heals, he does it all over again. He scares me more than going back. She nods. Besides, Papa San's pining. He wants to go home. No more wandering, see? She nods again. You'll be there with me, understand? Just the way Papa San is. Get it? I'm not nuts, baby. I just take stuff with me wherever and whatever I need. It happens when I travel long distances. He shakes his head, trying to rid it of the crowding, the burn, the hissing, and leans against the wall. His face is a white mask. She moves toward his body, a body held together by sheer will, the will to complete a circle she's not part of. She tugs him into bed, one hand propping up the pillows behind him, then climbs in too, shoulder to shoulder. Say it, Ida, he whispers. What? Why I'm returning there. To get clean? I love your lips. And the rest of me? All of you, baby. Just like old Blue Eyes sings. The next morning. In the driveway, Ida turns off the ignition. The air inside still cool. This morning his hands were so warm she feared he had a fever, but didn't say so, didn't say anything really, just lay there, her head back against his shoulder, until the dim light of dawn crept into the room. Pinching the bridge of her nose, she closes her eyes. This will never do. A kind word from a passing neighbor and she'll dissolve. Slipping the keys into her pocket, she gets out of the car. A thin breeze passing. The narrow street still quiet. She just doesn't know, without him here, after so many years. Some things are easier to survive than others. She slings the bag over her shoulder, the front door ajar. It's not like Sarah Jo to be sloppy. Sarah Jo is her best friend's daughter staying with her. In the kitchen, 2 nearly full bottles of beer on the table. She walks into the living room, the couch untouched. She sucks in her breath. Sarah Jo, she calls, going up to the guest room. Sarah Jo? Louder this time. Sarah Jo? Sarah Jo? She crosses the hallway, taps on the bathroom door, pushes it open, sees her lying naked in the tub, only a few inches of water around her. God, the word low in her throat. She pushes aside a whiskey bottle, puts one foot in the water, braces herself and grabs Sarah Jo's shoulders, sees her breathing, smells the booze. Drunk, for God's sake! Shakes her. Shit! Shakes her again. Sarah Jo's hand flies up, her eyes open. Stop, Ida, stop! I'm getting you out of here. But suddenly there's no strength in her, the water dragging at her dress. She sees the red marks of her fingers on Sarah Jo's shoulders. What happened? Just wanted to sleep for a while, that's all. Sarah Jo hoists herself out of the tub, pads into the bedroom, grabs a long T-shirt. She follows. I thought you were dead, and drops her wet clothing on the floor, wrapping herself in a kimono. And if I were, you'd be pissed? Just pissed? Sarah Jo dangles her legs off the bed. The shirt clings damply to her thin shoulders, her small breasts. You scared me, damn it, the anger still in her. I planned to have a few drinks, then sleep in the guest room. I didn't expect to pass out in the tub. Why the drinks? Carlos joined the Marines. He told me last night. The tiny hoops in her ears tremble. He was going to be my stable moment. What a crock. Then why isn't Sarah Jo wailing, crying? Carlos was going to visit me in the Bronx, but how could he? He'd be gone. He lied. Sarah Jo stares at her. He's not going forever, her tone harsh. Ashamed, she takes a deep breath. What's the matter with you, with all of you, my mother and all of you? These vets have ruined your lives. Do you think I'd ever let myself in for that? Sarah Jo's voice cuts through her. She walks to the dresser, lines up the brush, comb, 3 bottles of perfume, the hand cream, a row of things less meaningful without Frankie. She looks in the mirror. Who does she see? A woman with good times behind her. So what's wrong with that? She hasn't been unhappy, just lonely now and then, and no more so than women with husbands and children. You see, Sarah Jo, Frankie and I, no, keep him out of it. You see, Sarah Jo, your mother and Rooster were this item. So what did that matter, Sarah Jo will ask, and she can't say, except that it was the promise of something more, and God knows they all wanted that. She turns. Sarah Jo has a pillow across her lap, her elbows resting there. I'm not going to explain any of the men to you, Sarah Jo. You don't have to. I already know my father's crazy. Maybe he is. Jesus, he was beautiful. So I heard, Sarah Jo says, like sweet pears in fire. Big deal. Sarah Jo props up the pillow behind her, leans back. You never had to live with him. I did. You're hard sometimes. She stares at Sarah Jo's smooth, pale forehead, the sweet lift of her sharp chin. Because I know what I don't want? Because you think you can control everything, even whiskey. Don't worry, I hate the stuff. All I wanted was some fast sleep. I knew I'd feel better afterward. Do you, Sarah Jo? She picks up her dress, drapes it over the chair, sits there. Sarah Jo shrugs. Some. So what's your plan with Carlos? I'll never see him again. Never, Sarah Jo? Sarah Jo shakes her head slowly, her thin lips pressed together. Perhaps Sarah Jo knows something about getting past the painful holes that she herself has never learned. Do you love Carlos? Some. It hasn't been that long. If it had been, if you'd known him for years, say. Oh, Ida, she laughs. How can I imagine that? I'm only 16. She nods. Of course. She's seen women torn away from their men. Some fall apart. Some mend. In time. She wonders how long. Maybe I'll sleep for an hour, she says. There's a farewell dinner tonight for Frankie. When's he leaving, Ida? A few days. I planned to go with him. Her words deliberate. He wouldn't have it. He wants to spare me. You'd go there? Why not? Drop everything like you had no life of your own? He's part of my life. But you have a job. You have friends. You have me. Sarah Jo's glaring at her. She shrugs. I have love, my sweets. And I haven't? Sarah Jo swings her legs off the bed. Not yet. You're wrong, Ida. About what? About when I do. Oh? It won't be blind like yours. They stare at each other. Then Sarah Jo frowns at her. Can't you just let Frankie go? The words hang in the air. She reads them anew. It's what he wants, too. Her eyes slide to the painting from Thailand he sent her years ago. The soft, brown mountains seem to move like sand in a breeze. I could try, she says. I'll keep you company. I'm beginning to think you should go back to your mother. No, Sarah Jo jumps off the bed, begins pacing. I can't be there. She wants so little. It depresses me. All she talked about was seeing Big Sur, how beautiful it would be, how nothing could compare, how going there would be the most exciting experience of her life. If she was right, there'd be nothing left to look forward to. You underestimate your mom. She knows more than you imagine. She knows that things would go on even after Big Sur. They always do, good and bad. She watches Sarah Jo fit herself into her favorite space on the windowsill. Outside, the sky is bluer than the cornflowers on the bedspread. By noon, the sun will